Okay, day 111, the DynCorp harvest. Today it's going to be vaccines, or for this part two is going to be virus and vaccines. And how closely Wall Street is associated with virus and vaccines. As a matter of fact, if you go all the way back to the kind of the Rockefellers and discovery of petroleum, they've always looked for things to use the petroleum for higher and better uses. So everything literally in a barrel of oil is used, and if the refining tanks they use is basically every level they found a different use for jet fuel all the way up to grease for your bicycle. So vaccines is just a continuation of that. Virus and vaccines, because they're petroleum based. These drugs are all petroleum based. So the Rockefeller Institute got into a lot of had a very strong tie with the German drug companies Hoechst and Bayer and IG Farben and so forth. So there's always been a strong connection between the Rockefellers' research and the German drug industry. And that's what I want to talk about today, and talk about how Haiti's kind of a continuation of that. So, and again, this is all DynCorp. DynCorp does these virus and vaccines contracts for all of South America and Haiti as well as other companies that General Grain Jones, PPD. So, and again, this is more just the harvest of war, just more of just increasing the return on investment for war, and organ harvesting is obviously a part of that as well. So first of all, I said this morning that the data set really will change your mindset if you really just look at the facts. When the war first broke out, this is the Second World War I'm talking about, the Nazis set up these centers all over Germany. Auschwitz came later, but Dachau and so forth, these were set up by the drug companies, IG Farben and so forth. And mainly in these Nazi drug experiments from 1942 to 1945, they did trials for cures and vaccines for, now these are people that murdered a huge number of people. My grandfather had already come to America, and he was actually in the Army in the First World War. But malaria, they did experiments in TB, hepatitis A, I said TB twice, sorry, typhus, all kinds of poisons, Noma, it's like Ebola. And they were really into sulfa drugs. The Germans had developed the precursor to penicillin. A lot of people say they suppressed penicillin to protect the sulfa monopoly. I don't know, that's a little bit kind of like folklore, but anyway, there was quite a strong tie between the Rockefellers and the drug companies in Germany. That's just fact. You'll notice I have Dresden on here, and then another place called Pirna. This is the Elbe River running through down southern Germany. I'll get to that in a second. But the other thing the Nazis did was transplantation experiments. So bone graft, skin grafts, muscle, nerve. They looked into a lot of extensive experiments and all that. These were all set up by Hitler's personal physician. I think he also was the head of the Reichstag. So he was not just he's got a mean face here, but he's actually was a politician. I think he ran the whole Reichstag. But anyway, he authored this action called T4 right at the beginning of the war. Basically, they rounded up all the people that were disabled and sent them down to this center here in Sonnenstein in Pirna. And this was where all the euthanasia, it was a euthanasia program. So this is kind of like that mental furniture that I was talking about earlier. The people that are involved all along the way, you give them mental furniture to get over whatever the stigma is in terms of putting somebody to death. It's pretty bad. So anyway, Pirna's only 21 minutes away from Dresden. Now, if you remember earlier, I talked about Slaughterhouse 5 up here in Dresden, the firebombing of Dresden. And what actually occurred is they had the train line ran up here, and there was a number of slaughterhouses where they ground these people up, and just exactly like pigs. And the bombing of Dresden, you're going to find, they veered off Leipzig where they were supposed to bomb, and they bombed this, had no military value whatsoever, Dresden. And that was the key reason for that, was to destroy these slaughterhouses that Hitler had used. They wanted to use literally people as food. And this is the Soylent Green thing again. And then Pirna here was also bombed in that raid. So again, You just have to, they don't bomb for, there's always going to be this cover story, oh, well, there's clouds over Leipzig. They don't bomb here in a little town out here where there's nothing, no military value for no reason. And this was a huge bombing raid here for Dresden. The reason is they didn't want anybody living that was a part of this was at the end of the war, and they didn't want anybody who was a part of the Soylent Green operation to be alive to tell about it. That's just the facts. Where have we seen this before? Well, we've seen it in Haiti. All these vaccines and viruses that have been tested, you've got cholera, you've got all kinds of things that are being tested in Haiti. So really all that's happened is because of innovation, because you have the cell phone now, you can take these populations and track them on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis wherever they go. So once they've been inoculated, let's say, with the virus, you don't need to have them in a camp anymore. They can go anywhere they want. And then we can send the Harvard guys down and the Yale anthropologists down and do studies, and there's been like 12 by each one of them, and collect our sample sets to make sure that we can make our viruses, see how our viruses are working. This is just a big drug lab, as I said before. And we did the same thing, by the way, with Bill Swing in Congo and all over South Africa. So like I said before, if it goes into Africa, then it comes to Haiti, then it goes to Atlanta, and then it is going to go to Chicago. Now, a lot of people said Wayne Williams. Why did you mention Wayne Williams? Wayne Williams was part of a sex trafficking thing, just like it's going on down here in Cité Soleil from this morning. So I'll talk about that later, but they have a team. The CIA calls it rendition, but when they have somebody else do it, they call it kidnapping. But it's 2 or 3 people. They have a little routine they go through, and they get the kid in the car. They squeeze him on the neck, and away he goes. And then when the guy gets caught, he serves a little bit of time. He goes back in every once in a while to do a film for 60 minutes or somebody that makes it look like he's still in jail. But that's what happens. So again, where have I seen this before? This is the organ harvesting that's happening in New Petit Frere et Sœurs. Down in this hospital, the only orphanage that seemed to get any money from USAID in Haiti. Here are the hospital beds for the cholera ward for harvesting. And then they always, in the Jewish days, what they used to do to our dads and stuff, they'd say, well, we're going to send you off to the work camp. So they send the men in one direction, they pick out the beautiful women, and then the others went for experiments, and then the kids they kept in the little kindergartens in the death camp. Here, there's a huge spike in the number of Haitian men that are going this huge 7,000-mile route to get back to Miami when they could just go straight here to Miami. And they're going through every cartel country that you can possibly hit, with risk of being kidnapped all along the way. All these countries, by the way, also are the places where soldiers have been in Haiti, oppressing the Haitian people, and there's a real kind of racial difference there. Well, this is the same thing that they used to do with the Jewish men. They send them on this route, and they're human hearts. They're a walking organ farm all the way. It's kind of like driving cattle all along the way. If you read this is this torturous route of going from gang to gang to gang to gang. They're advertising this so these Haitian men go down here and actually fall for this. This is the Judas goat thing, where here we're going to lead you right there, and they're going to have a few people come back from Miami to Haiti and say, oh, I'm rich now, and I went through here, and I took drugs, but they're basically using these men as drug couriers, or that some of them are being kept in the mines, or some of them being mined for their organs. So again, not to beat the heart in a box thing too much, but with the Donna Karan with the heart in the box advertising, and then this Transmedics heart in the box. So and that's why I say it's already happened in Atlanta at CDC, and I'm going to say the Georgia some Georgia service in Atlanta is going to also be involved as kind of the prison, the Holman Square. I'm not saying Georgia Investigative Services Bureau of Investigation. I'm not saying that just yet. That's my suspicion, but I don't have proof. But then Holman Square is going to be your area in Chicago. This is Slaughterhouse 5. It's now you're going to interrogate here first to get more leads, but then Slaughterhouse 5. Schlagtau Fünf. It's all, I'm going to also talk about Operation Underground Railroad with the Jason Chaffetz. All Jason Chaffetz has to do now with people saying, do your job, is just to say, well, let me get some help. Let the FBI do its job. Let me send a few queries about those 650,000 emails with these different operation names: Operation Underground Railroad, Timber Sycamore, Zero Footprint. And let me just ask and query the data to see if any of these operation names are in the 650,000 emails. Just like we queried for Benghazi. They should probably do a list of about 20 or 30 of the names that are going to come up. And you're going to see it's programs like this that they don't want the public to see. I'm not the one who lost the 6.5 trillion. Their own inspector general, the own inspector general of the FBI, of the DOD says they lost the 6.5 trillion. So again, it all starts, Trump doesn't have a chance, and Trump's going to realize this. He doesn't have a chance unless he puts public pressure. He needs to tweet out saying, I need those 650,000 emails. Again, one email can completely unlock the whole story of Syria, okay? So that's why I put the focus so much on the emails. And Trump really has to be the one. Otherwise, he's going to be impeached before he gets a chance to even do anything. So that's it for now.